Twice as Good with Hadley and Delaney is brought to you by Mila. Immer besser, forever better. Mila. And by Cuties. Cute you can eat. Cuties. And by Kitchen Works. Wherever we go, that's where the party's at. Kitchen Works.
As always, don't forget the first 4 rules of kids cooking. 1. Wash your hands. 2. Ask an adult for help, especially with hot items, sharp utensils, and appliances. 3. Don't be afraid to try new ingredients, especially if they are green. And 4. Have fun. These 4 rules make cooking twice as healthy and twice as good. Churchill Downs is twice as good. Hi, I'm Hadley. And I'm Delaney. And this is Twice as Good. Today, Hadley and I are in Louisville, Kentucky, and we are super excited to be visiting Churchill Downs, the site of one of the most popular and exciting annual sporting events in the whole world, the Kentucky Derby. Churchill Downs is actually named for 2 Kentucky gentlemen, John and Henry Churchill, who leased the property to their nephew, Colonel Meriwether Lewis Clark Jr., a man who bred and trained horses. He wanted to build a racetrack. Fun history fact: Colonel Meriwether Lewis Clark Jr. was the grandson of the famous explorer William Clark, who along with Meriwether Lewis were part of the first expedition to travel all the way from the east to the Pacific Ocean on America's western coast. Kentucky is now famous the world over for its horses and its beautiful pastures of Kentucky bluegrass. Of course, Kentucky bluegrass is not grass that's blue. It's actually green, but if it's left unmowed, it actually blossoms with beautiful blue flowers, and that's how it got its name. The Kentucky Derby is held on the first Saturday in the month of May every year, and the 2016 event will mark the 142nd running of this grand race that's also known as the Run for the Roses. That's because the winning horse is draped with a garland of over 400 roses every year. The tradition dates all the way back to 1896. All of the 20 thoroughbred horses that compete in the Derby are 3-year-olds. It does not matter what month or day a horse is actually born. If they're going to race, their date of birth is listed as January 1st. And all of the horses that run in the Derby are male. There's actually another race for female horses, the Kentucky Oaks, that runs the Friday night before the Derby. The nickname for this race is Lilies for the Fillies. As you can imagine, the Kentucky Derby is a huge celebration. There are lots of amazing historical traditions associated with this 2-week-long party, and many of them have to do with food and beverages. And today, with Chef Danielson, we're going to make some fun and traditional Kentucky recipes such as Derby Hot Brown, bread pudding bites, and Kid-Friendly Mint Julep. So let's get started.
Welcome to Churchill Downs. The food is twice as good.
Down to the wire, Orb has won the Kentucky Derby!
First and foremost, the Derby is an equine sporting event. Equine is a word that means of, related to, or resembling a horse. The horses that run this race are all athletes that must be in top condition to perform their best, which means they need to eat healthy and exercise as well. And the jockeys who ride the horses have to be in top shape too. Just like prize fighters, jockeys must maintain a certain weight to qualify to ride in a race. They've also got to have fabulous reflexes and strong muscles to control a 1,200-pound horse galloping at the speed of 40 miles per hour or more. Before we start cooking some Kentucky recipes, we're fortunate to talk with Mr. James Baker, a thoroughbred trainer, and jockey Dylan Davis to learn more about the training and nutrition of the athletes of Churchill Downs. Is this the track where they're going to run the Kentucky Derby?
This is. It's always the first Saturday in May. There'll be about 100,000, 120,000 people here. This filly is a 2-year-old filly, and the young horses, we try to keep them in company with other horses because they don't like going by themselves. So that's why we brought them up 2 at a time.
How do the horses get their names?
The owners name them. Eagle-Eyed Lady, his mother, was named War Eagle Lady. So that's how I got the Eagle-Eyed Lady. That's her. And here's the jockey, Dylan Davis. He's getting ready to breeze that horse. He's going to go real, real fast.
If a horse wins, do you breed that horse so that there can be other winners?
Yeah, Eagle-Eyed Lady, I trained her mother and her father.
Wow.
And that's very rare to train both of them.
Oh, so she's going to be a good runner.
I hope so. We're counting on that.
We know that the horses that run in the Derby are all 3-year-olds. But what exactly is a thoroughbred?
Thoroughbreds are bred just to race only, and it started back, I believe, in England back in the 1600s.
We also know that horses are measured in hands. Can you explain what that means?
A big horse would be like 16.1 hands, which is a little bit over 6 foot, and they measure to the withers, not to the top of their head.
What do the horses eat?
We feed them a grain mixture 3 times a day, and also all the hay or alfalfa they want to eat all day long. This is Lady Relaunch.
Is she running in a race?
She'll run in about a month.
Is this her breakfast?
Now this is just a meal they eat all day long. This is hay. They're fed 3 times a day. We got a big bucket. We feed them about 12 quarts of oats a day.
Wow, that's a lot.
That's a lot. They eat a lot.
Can we feed her some?
You can feed her some, yeah, of course, here.
What's the difference between a diet of the horse that's training for a race and one that's not?
It's a higher protein diet. Plus we add more vitamins and electrolytes just to help keep the horses healthier.
What kind of exercises do the horses do?
Well, we take them out every day and either jog or gallop them. And then once a week, they have what they call a breeze, which is what they go real fast. Almost a race, but not quite as fast.
What kind of jobs are there around the barn?
Well, there's a lot. We have what we call exercise riders. They ride the horses out and back. We have grooms. They brush the horses off and clean their stalls. We have hot walkers, and they walk them around and take them out and give them grass.
Where do the horses sleep?
The horses sleep in their stalls, and they actually do most of their sleeping standing up. They don't lay down very often.
What are the horses' personalities like?
Well, horses are like people. They're all different. They all have different personalities. Some like to be left alone, and others like attention, you feeding them treats or petting on them.
What is tack?
Tack is what we call the exercise rider's equipment. It's saddles, bridles, what we put on the horses for them to control them. Y'all want to feed her a peppermint?
Oh, she's so pretty.
Hold your fingers out flat. There
Can we
you go.
pet her head?
Yeah, you can pet her head. Sure.
How do the jockeys train?
Well, the jockeys, they'll come out in the mornings and we'll have to work a maintenance half mile or 5/8 to get a prep for the race day, usually 7 days afterwards.
Do you have to be strong too?
Yes, very fit. For jockeys, you have to use almost every muscle in your body.
Which horse do you ride?
I ride a lot of horses, different types of horses, older horses, younger horses. Nowadays, more female jockeys are rising, and before it was very rare for a female jockey to come up because it was a male-dominant sport. So.
Last year in the Derby, I think there was only one girl.
Yeah, one girl, Rosie Napravnik, and She was one of the top female riders riding right now.
What is it like when you're on the track and in a race? Are you nervous?
No, it's very exciting. We try our best to get to the wire first, and you try to get around the track very safely.
Thank you so much for letting us come here and ask you about the jockeys and horses.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
On Derby Day in the infield, there's certainly a bunch of celebrating. If you really want to see the horses run, you have to be in the grandstands. The Derby draws an average about 150,000 visitors every year. That's a lot of hungry spectators. Good thing we're meeting with Chef Dave next to learn how he does it. Kentucky in general and Churchill Downs have some truly amazing places to satisfy your hunger on Derby Day and some wonderful food traditions. We're here with Chef Dave Danielson to talk about some classic Kentucky and traditional race day food and drinks. We will be making Derby hot brown, bread pudding bites, and a kid-friendly mint julep. What are we making first?
Well, first we're going to start off with the hot brown. This is a very famous dish here in Kentucky, and whenever people come to Churchill Downs, it's something they always ask us for. It was invented right down the street here at the Brown Hotel. So how we start this dish off, and you guys can help me, we oven roast a turkey breast. We got some herb roasting. We roast this and we chill it down. So I'm gonna slice this turkey, and then we'll put this dish together. There's a couple different things here. What we do is we start off with some turkey, and then we make a little bit of Mornay sauce. So if you guys would love to help me, we start off with a little bit of toast points. We toast some white bread. We put it down here on the bottom. We add a little bit of our sliced turkey on top of this. This is a great dish all year round, especially in the fall. So we start off with the turkey. We've got our Mornay sauce here.
What's Mornay sauce?
So Mornay sauce is a white cream sauce. We start off with milk, and then we thicken this with a roux, which is like a cooked flour mixture. And then once that thickens up, we add a bunch of grated cheese in there, and makes it really, really delicious, especially with this turkey and the bread. So we get the dish ready like this, and then what we're gonna do, if you guys want, we got a little bit of Parmesan. If one of you want to sprinkle a little Parmesan on the top.
Parmesan is a good flavoring.
Yes, I love Parmesan. We sprinkle that on, and what we're gonna do is we take a little bit of tomatoes. We're gonna throw just a couple tomato edges on here, and we've got some bacon here that we've cooked about 3/4 of the way, okay? So we can take a couple bacon strips, put 2 bacon strips on top of this. Just set it anywhere right on there. So we'll take this one over and we'll throw this right in the oven, and this should take about 15, 20 minutes, okay?
Okay.
So now our hot brown just came out of the oven. This was in there for about 15 or 20 minutes. You can see it's got nice and bubbly, the turkey, everything's kind of going together. So we're ready to eat it. What I'm gonna do, because this plate's really hot, I'm gonna cut a little bit out, and I'll give you guys a nice taste. There is the hot brown. Give it a taste and let me know what you think.
It's good.
Nice, delicious, huh?
Yes, it is.
Turkey,
Very
bubbly
good.
cheese, bacon, tomato. How can you go wrong, right?
Yes.
Now you guys have had the very famous Derby hot brown. Well, next we have a great dessert. You know, what day would be complete at the races without a dessert to finish it off? So we're gonna make one of the favorite desserts that people really love around here. It's a little bit of a twist on a bread pudding. So what we're gonna do today is we're gonna make some bread pudding bites. So I'll show you first, we'll make a traditional type bread pudding. If you guys would like to help me out, does one of you wanna crack the eggs in this bowl?
Okay.
You guys can crack those in there. 2 more. So we start off, we've got our eggs, we've got a little bit of sugar, we've got a little bit of cinnamon. We got a pretty good amount of sugar because we got to sweeten up a lot of bread. So if one of you want to start mixing that up, you can dump that in. That's a little cocoa powder.
The full thing?
Yeah, go ahead. We've got a little bit of cinnamon. And then what we're going to do is we're going to add a little bit of milk. And essentially what we're doing is we're making a little bit of sweetened kind of custard cream here. You want me to whip it up really quick?
Okay.
So what we're gonna do is we get all this mixed together. We've got our sweetener, our sugar, we've got some seasoning. And when you make bread pudding, you can do all different types of seasoning. You don't have to just do chocolate. Some people put in different types of fruits, bananas. We like the chocolate. People make caramel.
Do you always put cinnamon in?
No, we don't always do. Like I say, you know, it's a great, bread pudding is one of those great desserts that you can put together with what you've got lying around. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna add our bread in here. And what we really wanna do is just get all this bread soaked up nice and wet with the custard. And this is all gonna mix in. And then what we do is when we get this all mixed up, we get it nice and soft, we're gonna take this and put this in a pan. So we'll put it into just a regular baking dish, and then this whole dish goes in the oven, and we bake this kind of low temperature for about 30 or 40 minutes. So we mix this all in, we'll throw it in the pan, we'll smooth it all out, we take this, we throw it in the oven, and we bake this. Once it bakes, it becomes very, very thick and hard, and what we wind up with is something that looks like this. So these, what we've done is we've taken them out, we refrigerated them, and then we cut them into little pieces. So you can see kind of how the bread goes in there with the custard and it all bakes together. So what makes our dish really, really different is we're gonna take this bread pudding bites, we're gonna put them in a bowl, we're gonna toss them with a little bit of rice flour.
Where's rice flour?
Rice flour is a flour that's made with, they take the rice, they grind it down so it's really, really fine. And what we do is just sprinkle a teeny bit on this, and the reason we do that, we just want to coat these a little bit, and all that flour does is just give it a little bit of crispy on the outside. The inside gets nice and gooey, really, really nice and soft, and the outside stays really, really nice and crispy. So I'm gonna take these, we'll take these and drop these in the fryer real quick, and then we'll look at this dish, all right?
Okay.
All right, well, now that we've got these out of the fryer, you see that didn't take very long. We just had them in there for maybe about a minute or so. They got nice and crispy, so you guys can help me out, and this is what we're gonna do to finish them. We've got some cinnamon sugar. So this is just regular granulated sugar with a little bit of cinnamon in it. And we mix it in, so it's got that cinnamon flavor and nice and sweet.
Here's a fun fact. Cinnamon actually comes from the bark of the cinnamon tree. The bark is ground to fine powder like this one.
Why don't you sprinkle a little bit in here, and mix them together. And what we're gonna do is just toss these up a little bit. You wanna throw a little bit more? Perfect. You can't have too much, right?
Yeah.
So now, you smell that? It smells amazing, right?
Yeah.
So we've got our bread pudding bites, we've got our cinnamon sugar on them, and now we'll get ready and show you how we present them. So what we do, and if you're at home, you can have some tongs, because these are a little hot, but my fingers can take it. So we put them in these little baskets, okay? You can serve these with your favorite dipping sauces. So what we've got here is we've got a little chocolate sauce. You guys want to go ahead and taste? Tell me what you think.
Okay. This is really good.
Good.
This is really good.
Nice and hot. It's a great dessert. Some little different twist on our regular bread pudding. And we sell a lot of them. People really love them when they come out here to Churchill Downs.
Chef Dave's going to show us how to make the most famous drink in the Kentucky Derby.
Well, you can't come to Churchill Downs without having a mint julep. So today, we've got a special version of the mint julep we're making just for you girls. So you guys know what simple syrup is, right?
Yes, it's when you mix hot water and sugar together.
Absolutely. So we started this one off with equal parts sugar and water. We brought it to a boil, and then we pulled it off the heat. We added a bunch of fresh mint. So I've got a ton of mint here. We have our own mint farm we work with here because we sell so many of these. On Kentucky Derby Day, we make about 120,000 of these mint juleps.
Wow. Is it like a farm dedicated to just one?
Yes, a farm right here in Louisville, Kentucky, that all they grow is mint. And every one of these drinks gets a big sprig of this. So we start off, we make this mint syrup. We put the mint in there, we put it in the cooler, we let it sit for about an hour, and then we strain it out. All mint juleps have crushed ice. So we're gonna start off by putting a little bit of crushed ice in here, okay? And then we're gonna give it a little bit of the mint syrup.
Do you have to do this all in the right order?
Yes, and we have a whole group of people that on Derby Day, this is all they do. And then normally, we pour a little Kentucky bourbon, but today, we're topping these off with lemonade. Because I think mint and lemonade are two unbelievable good flavors together. And now what we're gonna do, just like we do at the Derby, we top it off with a little ice. We put kind of a little ice cone on top there, right?
Yes.
We're gonna take a big sprig of fresh mint. We put that in like that.
That looks really pretty.
Put that in like that. So here we go. We'll finish these off. And here are your very own mint juleps.
Wow, thank you. Cheers.
Thanks for coming out today. I hope you had a great time here at Churchill Downs.
We did. Fans of the Kentucky Derby know in addition to a major horse race, the annual event is a huge fashion happening. Now, back in the 1880s when Colonel Meriwether Lewis got the idea for Churchill Downs, American racetracks were not considered a savory environment to bring fashionable ladies. But in England and other parts of Europe, they were the height of haute couture and high society. It didn't take long for the media to take interest, and pretty soon, the society pages were filled with news of who wore what to the Derby. The tradition continued to grow, with the rich and famous showing up in their finest frocks and millinery, which are fancy words for dresses and hats. In the 1960s, the world of fashion experienced a revolution. Rules of convention were tossed to the wind. And that's when the crazy, dramatic, over-the-top chapeau we associate with today's Derby made their debut. Along with the race each year, there's now an annual hat competition, and these are some of the winning entries. This fantastic flower hat was the winner of the 2014 hat contest. We think it's just beautiful. This men's chapeau was also a contest winner. We love the entries, little horses racing around the rim. On race day, the infield at Churchill Downs is party central. From here, you can see the Twin Spires, one of the most iconic landmarks associated with the Derby. Constructed in 1895, the spires were the brainchild of a 24-year-old draftsman named Joseph Dominic Valdez. Although they weren't part of the original design, Valdez really felt the racetrack needed something to put the architecture over the top. And these towers with their hexagonal design have become legendary. A hexagon is a polygon with 6 sides and 6 interior angles. A polygon is any closed figure that contains 3 or more flat planes. For example, triangles, rectangles, squares, hexagons, and octagons are all polygons. The Kentucky Derby is a 1 1/4 mile race, but horse races are also measured in something called furlongs. A furlong is 220 yards, which is equal to 1/8 of a mile. Since this race is 1 1/4 miles, that means it's 10 furlongs. We hope you loved our visit to Churchill Downs as much as we did. Learning about the fascinating athletes that compete in the Kentucky Derby, horses and humans, has certainly given us a lot to think about. I guess it just goes to show that no matter what you're doing, a healthy diet and the right exercise are a huge part of coming out a winner. We'd like to say a huge thank you to Chef Dave and the Churchill Downs and museum staff for making us so welcome. We had a great time learning about the food traditions of Kentucky and Churchill Downs. We hope you will saddle up and try some of their food traditions, and that you will find them to be twice as good! information about the dishes prepared on today's show, including a listing of ingredients and the recipes, please visit us at twiceasgoodshow.com. As always, don't forget the first 4 rules of kids cooking. 1. Wash your hands. 2. Ask an adult for help, especially with hot items, sharp utensils, and appliances. 3. Don't be afraid to try new ingredients, especially if they are green. And 4. Have fun. These 4 rules make cooking twice as healthy and twice as good.
Twice as Good with Hadley and Delaney is brought to you by Mila. Immer besser, forever better. Mila. And by Cuties. Cute you can eat. Cuties. And by Kitchen Works. Wherever we go, that's where the party's at. Kitchen Works.